House, Mr. Wiono Raharjo, Vice Rector for Partnership and Entrepreneurship from Universitas Islam Indonesia, Mr. Din Wahid, Lecturer and Researcher from UIN Seraf Hadiatullah, Jakarta, and Mr. Abdul, Lecturer, Universitas Diponegoro, also other distinguished guests. Welcome to this collaboration dialogue on higher education science between knowledge institutions in Indonesia and the Netherlands. As was already mentioned by Ms. Astrid, my name is Yvonne Klerks. I'm Education and Science Attaché from the Netherlands to Indonesia. I'm based in the Dutch Embassy in Jakarta. And one of my main priorities is the collaboration between Indonesian knowledge institutions and Dutch knowledge institutions. So it's my pleasure and my honor to be here today. And of course, a warm welcome to all the Indonesian knowledge institutions attending this meeting. Your presence is highly appreciated. As was already explained, this collaboration dialogue is created in response to the matchmaking session in June in 2024 in Jakarta. And we would like to discuss the expectations about the collaborations between the knowledge institutions in Indonesia and in the Netherlands. So with the aim that in the future we can have more and also continued high quality collaborations. Some of you are already involved in collaboration with Dutch knowledge institutions. Some of you are involved in international collaboration, but not yet with the Netherlands. And some of you are new to international collaboration. So in that sense, I think it promises to become an interesting session to learn the different perspectives also from the different knowledge institutions, and also to hear the perspective from some Dutch knowledge institutions who are present here today. So thank you all for your presence, and I would like to wish you a very fruitful meeting and hope to meet each other in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivana. We hope that everybody's enlightened now with her opening remarks. So we will begin with the first session. So I would like to invite Ibu Evi Eliana to share with us a little bit on how Universitas Negeri Malang actually does their collaborations with Dutch institutions.
Okay, thank you very much, Astrid. I don't have any presentation. I just want to address the audience, but I would like to share a little bit of our experience relating with Dutch institutions. And I believe that 3 other presenters will have much more data, much more experience to share. So I'm not going to take too much time. But Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Attaché of Education and Science of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Ms. Yvonne Klerks, and then my colleagues from Universitas Islam Negeri Syarif Hidayatullah, Pak Din, and then Universitas Islam Indonesia, Pak Wiryono, and also colleague from Undip, who are going to present their experience today. Bapak Ibu, we might have met in the previous session of NL Knowledge House Matchmaking. I am Evi Eliana. I'm Director of Office of International Affairs at Universitas Negeri Malang, also co-chair of Netherlands Knowledge House. How come this Indonesian lady is a co-chair of Netherlands Knowledge House? There may be a question like that. So Indonesian knowledge institution are invited to be part of NL Knowledge House. So it means that this invitation is extended to a certain, certain knowledge institutions, but it doesn't mean that it is limited to us. That's why we promote this kind of collaborative dialogues in order to, expand the collaborations between Indonesian and also Netherlands knowledge houses, or we can say knowledge institutions, not only limited to universities or polytechnics, but also to research institutions. So welcome to the Netherlands Knowledge House Collaboration Dialogue. It is a great pleasure to gather here today, especially in the spirit of strengthening the ties between Indonesia and the Netherlands through meaningful cooperation in higher education and research. This dialogue centers on the theme that holds great relevance and promise, Indonesia-Netherlands cooperation in higher education research from Indonesian perspectives. It means that there will be another part where we can listen to the other's perspective, which is the Dutch perspectives. And it is an honor for me to address the forum today on behalf of Netherlands Knowledge House. Thanks a lot, Ivona, for providing the opening remarks. And as we embark on today's discussions, we are reminded of the rich history of collaboration between Indonesia and the Netherlands. The unique perspectives that we representatives from Indonesian University bring to the table are invaluable because we know that Indonesia is home to a lot of rich topics for research and also great destinations for mobility. Our insights and experience will help shape the future of our partnership between Indonesia and the Netherlands, guiding us toward initiatives that truly reflects the needs and aspirations of our educational communities. Higher education is not just about the transmission of knowledge, it is also about building bridges between cultures, ideas, and people. By collaborating closely, we can harness our collective strengths to address the pressing challenges both our countries face, from sustainable development to technological innovations. Together, we can cultivate an educational environment that nurtures the leaders and thinkers of tomorrow. This collaboration dialogue is a follow-up to the previous matchmaking session held in Jakarta on June 19, 2024. During the matchmaking, we saw the intensive dialogues have been forged by representatives of Indonesian and the Netherlands higher education and research institutions. Some of you also attended the matchmaking in Jakarta, but if you did not, don't worry, there will be more opportunities like this that we are going to promote. We also launched our first NL Knowledge House Living Lab during the event. It was one living lab, and hopefully there will be more living labs to be opened. We indeed received quite a number of positive feedback for the event, yet there is also room for improvement, including how we can ensure that the limited time allocated for matchmaking can be optimally utilized and we can better manage expectations. Thus, in this dialogue, our presenters from UII, UIN Syarif Hidayatullah, and also Universitas Diponegoro will share their experiences about starting a collaboration and managing expectations in the cooperation with Dutch colleagues and institutions. As an Indonesian practitioner of international cooperation myself, I am fully aware of the expectations of Indonesian higher education in this context. We are expected in some ways to have legal, formal, institution level cooperation, signing MOU, and then and so on, instead of individual based, because this assumption is the assumption is that this kind of collaboration should be more sustainable, not depending on an individual person. However, academic collaboration culture between countries might differ. Some would appreciate robust individual level of cooperations and intensive mobility of students and also faculty members, even before agreeing to sign an MOU. And they might not want to start with a joint degree, for example, but more on short-term mobility first of students and also faculty members, and then scaling up from there until we reach into the ultimate joint degree. So joint degree is not an entry point. Joint degree is the ultimate goal, okay? So we can start with research. This is also the experience that, you know, I would like to share with you. Maybe with, you know, with Dutch institutions, we tend to start with research collaborations. With research collaborations, we can involve not only a single researcher, but we can also involve students. It really depends on the amount of funding that we have for the research. In doing so, we can then scaffold or escalate the level of the cooperation into mobility, and then after that, if it is already robust, and then we can see that there is a market for you know, joint or dual degree program, we can go to that direction. Otherwise, we can also start with jointly writing for you know, funding. There will be a call for proposal of Merian Fund, which is dedicated for Indonesia-Netherlands cooperation. It involves like mobility program and also research and living lab. So this is an opportunity that we can look into. Hopefully not in not so long, there will be a call for proposal. But don't forget, there are also other opportunities of funding, like for example, with Erasmus Plus and also Indonesian research funding as well. So I'd like to wrap up. Thank you for being here today, and I look forward to the fruitful discussion ahead. Together, let us strengthen the bonds of cooperation between Indonesia and the Netherlands and pave the way for a brighter future in higher education and research. Next collaboration dialogue is in August. We will hear the reverse experience. What do Dutch knowledge sector expects in their cooperation with Indonesian knowledge sector? I guess that's, a brief about what we are going to have today. The three other presenters will be able to unfold more details about this. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm going to give it back to Astrid. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bu Evi, and thank you for making helping us to clear up what are the expectations, especially for Indonesia, when we want to focus a lot more on the legal basis, whereby the Dutch usually would focus more from the bottom and then we go up. Thank you, Bu. Next, I would like to invite Pak Din Wahid from Universitas Islam Indonesia to share with us also their experiences and when it comes to collaborating with the Dutch Knowledge Institution. Halo, Pak Din.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ibu Astrid, for giving me the opportunity and for this session. And thank you, Ibu Evi, Ibu. Of course, Ibu Yvonne Clark, the Education and Science Attaché of the Dutch Embassy in Jakarta, and my colleagues, of course, and I saw also some of my colleagues here present in this meeting, like Pak Yasrul. He's my colleague when we were in Leiden conducting our PhD. Thank you for this opportunity. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to share the experience, not only conducting research in my university, actually, UIN, Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, Universitas Islam Negeri Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, but because I have also an experience as education and cultural attaché in The Hague 2 years ago, so I know how to how to conduct this collaborative academic collaboration between Indonesian universities and Dutch universities. So I just want to share what I have already prepared here. So why collaboration with Dutch universities is important? Of course, we know that Dutch universities has already high quality of education. They meet international standards. If we for instance can enjoy the intellectual atmosphere, academic atmosphere, and we can also enjoy, for instance, the library is very nice to enjoy, because the library also very we can stay in the libraries all the day. So that's why it's very interesting to have a collaboration with Dutch universities, and also because also they have offered international programs. Almost every universities in Netherlands, I think they have already offers international programs that's in English. So don't worry if, for instance, we don't understand Dutch, even though I think in the last years there is some concerns from the parliaments, from members of parliament, that they have to decrease international programs and also to decrease the international students. But I think because the university also needs international students. So I don't think that the number of international students will decrease. So of course we have very strong bond between Indonesia and Netherlands because of the history between Indonesia and Netherlands very strong. So because of this, there are some, you know, some programs devoted to the cooperation, academic cooperation between Indonesia and Netherlands. So just to give you information about the types of Dutch universities, there are two types of universities in Netherlands, research universities, which there are 13 universities like Leiden University, Amsterdam University, Utrecht University, and others, TU Delft and others. But also instead of that, we have also, Dutch universities. Also, there are University for Applied Sciences, which now, yesterday I just Google, it's now 42 universities for applied science, almost in every cities. I think even in for instance in Amsterdam there is 2 university for applied science. One is dedicated for arts, for instance, or the other ones for all other applied sciences. So this is the difference between the two is that research universities dedicated to research, while the applied science, it's in Indonesia we call it also like polytechnic actually, polytechnic. So even though sometimes there is also a problem of what accreditation for our polytechnics, whether our polytechnic has been acknowledged similarly, you know, in the level of University for Applied Sciences. And this is the university, Dutch University world ranking according to QS and Times Higher Education. So we can see here there are most of these universities has already recorded in 200 top 200s, even for instance TU Delft and 49s for KS world ranking 2025, and while in 2000 and while in Times Higher Education world ranking, it's belong to this year 2024, except University Utrecht University, it was 2023 number 66. That so we can see how I mean the quality of universities in the Netherlands, because sometimes we always say what is the ranking, what is the world ranking of this university. So here is the world ranking. So this is the next section. I want to share how to initiate academic collaboration based on let's say, as I said, this is based on my experience and based on my observation, and also based on my experience here in UAE and Sharif Darul Jakarta. So to be honest, it is difficult to get like MOU with Dutch universities, particularly research universities. Why? Because some Dutch universities they prefer to have MOU with top 10 Indonesian universities. I talked to several colleagues in Dutch universities when, for instance, I proposed to cooperate with some universities outside Java. For instance, they said, "Oh, we would like to have like 10 top 10 Indonesian universities." I said to them that I argued to them that if you would like only to have collaboration with top 10 Indonesian universities, you have only universities in Java. Because only one there is only one one university considered as top 10 universities in outside Java, which is Unhas University of Hasanuddin in Makassar. So this is that's the problem. So instead of having having MOU, memorandum of understanding between Dutch universities, between our universities, so I would like to have to propose very concrete program that's prior to signing MOU or other documents. Let's say, for instance, we can, for instance, invite some scholars from Dutch universities to have online lecture or whatever we can do. For instance, to invite them to seminar here in Indonesia. But it doesn't mean that it is impossible to have collaboration, because I know there are some there are also very strong collaboration between Dutch and Indonesian universities. For instance, Universities of Indonesia with Leiden, ITB, and UGM with Groningen University. I know Groningen and UGM University, Gajah Mada, they have more than 30 years collaboration between them, and even though UGM has become like very strategic partner of Groningen University in Southeast Asia. So what I can suggest here, do what we can do. Please propose what we can do. Very concrete program, very concrete action. Let's say, as I said, why don't we start with, for instance, asking them or inviting them to be international speakers, for instance. And now it is very easy to have like online seminars between Indonesia and Netherlands. So, and other thing that I can share here is, why don't we start with personal networks such as alumni and research collaborators? For instance, if, for instance, I myself, for instance, graduated from Leiden University and Utrecht University. So during my study there, of course, I have network there, and then I have collaborators. I have my partners in research collaboration, for instance. So what I can say here is, to use this personal network, and then develop personal network into institutional network. So we can upgrade our network from personal to institutional network. If for instance, during matchmaking in 2023, for instance, when I meet some colleagues from some universities in Netherlands here, they always I think very interesting question is, do we have like alumni from certain universities, from Groningen University or from Leiden University or whatever? So we start from this one, from this personal network. And then begin with concrete programs, as I said just now, seminar, research collaboration. And then when we have initiated more programs and we need MOU, so we propose signing MOU. I just want to have to share, for instance, University of Ahmad Dahlan in Yogyakarta. They have a they have already conducted some programs between some lecturers in Ahmad Dahlan and also Groningen University for more than 5 years. Then they need the proposed signing of proposed to sign MOU. And then I come to Groningen University and I said that see that they have already conducted some programs. So why don't we, for instance, why don't we sign an MOU between these universities? So this is this step I think we can follow. And then what I think also important is please engage the Indonesian Embassy in The Hague, especially education and cultural attaché, because one of the main function of education and cultural attaché is, of course, to strengthen collaboration between Indonesia and Netherlands in education. Of course, they are very. They welcome to welcome to to assist us, to help us in establishing cooperation, academic cooperation between our universities and Dutch universities. And this is the experience of my university actually. Until now, UIN Syarif Teluk Jakarta has only one MOU between Maastricht University and UIN University on curriculum development, especially for Faculty of Medicine. It was in 2019, and then when we would like to implement, we have pandemic, we have COVID-19. That why until now this MOU is idle. But in my university there are some alumni from Dutch universities like Leiden, Utrecht, Erasmus, Groningen. That's why this personnel can personal tie and personal bond with their professor and some researchers in Netherlands. So we always like ask these people to collaborate and to keep in touch with these professors. In 2023, for instance, WIN Jakarta has collaborated with LDA Brin Academy in 2023, a hosted opening program in UIN Syarif Teluk Jakarta. LDA Brin Academy is annual program held by Brin together with Leiden Delft Erasmus Alliance. Last year it was the second LDA Brin Academy, and UIN Jakarta collaborated with them in our perspective, inviting them to our university, to my university, UIN Syarif Teluk Jakarta. Which because in this program there are about 28 researchers from LDE, so they can come to they see and they visit my university. And during this program also, I asked them to give lecture in some faculties in my university. And in 2023 and 2024, we in Jakarta participated in matchmaking program organized by Netherlands Knowledge House. In 2024, for instance, we proposed collaboration in developing green campus. So we have already, I personally have already talked to my colleagues from Haas University for Applied Science and from The Hague University for Applied Science to support the program on green campus in my university. So I think that's what I can share from for the cooperation between my university, UIN Syarif Teluk Jakarta, and Dutch universities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Din. Thank you so much also for the presentations. Your experience is definitely needed. You mentioned about how personnel become professional or international. That's very important when it comes to collaborating with Dutch knowledge institutions. And I already see there are 2 questions in the chat box. Keep it coming, everybody, because we will address them later on together in a form of discussion during the Q&A session. So if you have anything in mind, suddenly just write it down and we'll discuss it as one big group. Next, I would like to invite Pak Wiryono Rahorjo from UII up on the screen, because we also would like to know how Universitas Islam Indonesia do their collaborations internationally. Pak Wiryono, silakan.
Thank you, Ibu Astrid. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Education and Cultural Attaché of the Netherlands Embassy in Jakarta, Ibu Yvonne Clerks, my colleagues, Ibu Evi Aliana, ada, and then Pak Din Wahid. You have presented the background, so I don't need to repeat my or whatever, how we approach the Dutch University to collaborate. So let me share my screen. Right. Yeah, my title is UII Connection with the Netherlands, because our activity is not just academic. Let me first introduce the UII to you. If you look at this informations, UII was established in 1945 in Jakarta as Sekolah Tinggi Islam, right? Islamic Higher School. And one of the prominent figures who found this university is Dr. Muhammad Hatta. When, because most of the founding fathers were political figures, so when the capital of Indonesia moved from Jakarta to Yogyakarta, STI also moved to Yogyakarta, and it was converted to UII in 1947. Now we have 5 campuses. As you can see, there's main campus in near the volcano, Mount Merapi. And then there is another campus, number 2. It's called Condong Catur Campus. And then Cik Tidro Campus, which is linked to the Netherlands. I will tell you later on. And then Taman Siswa, Tembangan Campus, right? And we have, sorry, this is an old figure. Actually, we have 30,000 students, and we have 8 faculties. And I'm not going to explain this in details, but how we get in touch with the Netherlands is actually started from the international undergraduate program. If you look at this list, there is a programs marked with green. So those with the green, they offer international program, which is a program that delivered in English. And it is part of our strategy to attract international students, to give option to international students to choose to study at UII using Bahasa Indonesia or English, right? But the main target group is Indonesians, because we want to implement what we call internationalization at home, right? So at the moment we have 16 international undergraduate program. And it's part of also strategy to boost the outbound mobility, such as to participate in ISMA program and other international credit transfer program. We started the international undergraduate program in 1996, so we often claim to be the first in Indonesia. And it is also to strengthen the study program capacity in internationalization. Right, these are our partners, the countries that we develop partners, and one of them is Netherlands. And if you look at this page, actually our connection with the Netherlands start with campus development. It was back in early 1970s when we first built campus UII on Ditiro Street. It was co-funded by Novib Netherlands, right? But don't ask me how, because at that time I was still at the elementary school, maybe, or maybe under kindergarten, right? So this is I took this from the history book of UII, right? This was used to be the office of rector and place to handle the various academic activities, including the day-to-day lectures. So the connection with the Netherlands gave a very significant impact, because this is like the kickoff of developing the facilities, the physical facilities to accommodate the academic activities. Today, the building hosts the Office of Foundations, the Yayasan Badan Wakaf, which is the owner of our university. By the way, UII is a private university. Right. So the second connection is the partnership with Saxion University of Applied Science. But Dean already mentions that there are two types of universities in Netherlands. The first one is the research university, and the second one is University of Applied Science. And we opt to have a cooperation with Saxion University. And you can see the pictures to the left. I think I organized this event, the visit to Saxion University by rector and vice rectors to kick off the partnership. But actually, we have also visited other universities. But what I'm presenting here is just an example of what we call a best practice, the long-term relationships, right? We also visited the Hague universities, also University of Twente. So the cooperation with Saxion University started in 2010, and we started with double degree, right? So if Ibu Effie mentioned that double degree is the ultimate goal, maybe we at that time we've got no idea except to kick off the double degree, and up to now we have already had 39 alumni of this double degree program from various fields, mostly business and economics. And then we also have used this university as a destination for the international credit transfer, or ICT. We have 2 alumni, and during we also actively participate in the so-called International Week, because this university also organized an event where a lecturer can teach at Saxions for 1 week. So it's a good practice for you to try to have a practice of teaching at the international atmosphere, you know, teaching where all of the students are international students. We also develop our partnerships to other fields like research on blockchains, and then in water management. So we during the pandemic, we several times we organized a colloquium on blockchain experience, and still we try to maintain that until today. Another example of our connection is we choose also universities in Netherlands as an ISMA destinations. At the moment, we have 2 alumni attending ISMA program at the University of Twente and the University of Groningen, right? This is actually our plan is to develop further double degree, because we already have many partnership running the double degree. We have 19 study program that runs the double degree. You can see that from various countries like Australia, Netherlands, South Korea, China, Malaysia, etc., including the United States. Of course, the number of students are not many, but this is just to give opportunity for outbound mobility for our students. and also for our international students. Another initiative that we plan to do, because we already have several experience. I think I see some of the participants in this discussion are my colleagues who actually have experience running the Erasmus. So Erasmus is also part of our strategy to enter the European, what do you call it, network. So these are some examples of our Erasmus portfolio, but unfortunately we have not yet reached Netherlands, but we've reached many other countries throughout Europe. What we are running at the moment is a 3 project. It's called Erasmus Angel, and then Erasmus Masudem, and then Mari Slodowska Reactions. This one is actually also very strategic to boost the exchange of scholars, where we have to send a scholar. For instance, in our case, we have to send 6 scholars to Europe, and then we have to also host 6 scholars to Europe per year for 4 years. So you can see the impact of it. There is scientific collaborations and writing paper, teaching, etc. The cooperation with Saxion also involved the visiting professor program. So that's why we also developed a scheme called visiting professor scheme, where we allocate some funds to host the visiting professor. So we have funds called Global Engagement Grant. It's an internal grant to offer to all the study program, so they compete internally and they can actually propose the visiting professor activities. I guess that's all. Quick presentation. Actually, it's a bit longer, but thank you, Pak Dean, for giving information about the university in Netherlands earlier. So this is just an additional sharing from our perspective. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you also, Pak Wiryono. That was interesting also, especially how you mentioned that we should try joining the Erasmus so that we can enter the European pool. That's another way to look at it. So I hope this gives us some ideas, everybody. Next, we would like to invite a representative from Universitas Diponegoro, Pak Abdul Rahman, to share a little bit about what has Universitas Diponegoro done when it comes to international collaborations with Dutch universities. Halo, Mas Rahman.
Halo, selamat siang, Mbak Astrid. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Mas. And maybe some of our colleagues can give a reaction, maybe if
because
some of our
you know
speakers
that it's already 2 o'clock or 2:30 in the afternoon. I think this is a very critical time that we all very sleepy.
I can vouch.
Yes, but thank you very much for the opportunities, Mbak Astrid, and also the Honorable Education and Science Attaché for the Netherlands, Ibu Yvonne, for giving us these special opportunities to share how we collaborate with the Netherlands knowledge institution, not only universities, but also other knowledge institution. Ibu dan Bapak, thank you very much for the opening. Of course, I thank you to Pak Dean for the background. And then I also thank you to Pak Wiryono for the strategy. So my duty is getting, I only will give the conclusion, because Pak Dean already gave the background, and then Pak Wiryono already explained much more about the strategy, how to collaborate with the Dutch knowledge institution. So in this time, I will only give the conclusion. Right. First, we will begin with the numbers. Undip collaboration with the Dutch Knowledge Institution. In our database, we have 6 collaboration with the Netherlands Knowledge Institution. The first one is with the Radboud University of Nijmegen. It's a long history of collaboration because we what do you call this? Initiate this collaboration since 1991, and then second one we have Vrije University Medical Center. Of course, because it's medical center, we only have a collaboration with the Faculty of Medicine of Diponegoro University. And then we also have collaboration with the Erasmus University. Again, the collaboration area is in the Faculty of Medicine. Number 4, we have Wageningen University, and then number 5, we have Section University of Applied Science. Like Pak Wiryono mentioned before, that we start the collaboration with the Section University of Applied Science with double degree program, and we already had 16 alumni, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not really sure that the program suddenly shut it down, Pak Wiryono. It was in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. The program suddenly shut it down. And until now, we only have a collaboration with Section University in terms of credit transfer system and international mobility, student mobility, ISM. And then we also have a collaboration with the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, or RVO. It's I'm not really sure about the activity with this agency, but one thing that I remember, that RVO the collaboration is about how to, what we call this, intensify the research between Indonesian researcher and also the Dutch researcher. That's all for 6 collaboration that we have with the Netherlands Knowledge Institution. But fortunately, we have many activities which is not written down in the MOU. Like with the Leiden University, we collaborate intensively. Every year, we send our professor and lecturer to teach there, especially for social anthropology and also international law. And the collaboration, the collaborators, I mean, from Leiden University also send their professor to Undip, to Diponegoro University, but we don't have any agreement or documentation. Could be MOU or letter of intent or any agreement, but we have activities, reciprocal activity between Leiden University and also Undip, Diponegoro University. So that is the contact or connection between Diponegoro University and also the Dutch higher institution. And then we also have collaboration with Radboud University of Nijmegen in what do we call this? In research for mangrove, Bapak dan Ibu. So we got a huge funding last 3 years to make sea and coastal rehabilitation in Desa Timbusloko in Demak Regency. We call it hybrid engineering, led by Professor Sri Rejeki from Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science. So they make like what do we call this? Sea boundaries from to protect the land from the abrasion, but with local wisdom. We know that we usually use concrete for the boundaries between the sea and also the land. But in hybrid engineering, we combine like bamboo and also some wooden, what do you call this? Some wooden structure to reduce the effect of the sea abrasion. And it happens in Desa Timbul Seloko. And in our record, this is a huge grant from I'm not really sure, it could be the EU or the Erasmus, but we done this for like 3 years apart, and I think it is most successful research project which is run by the Dutch institution and also UNDIP, because the sea in the what do we call this publication, I read the publication that what do we call this, the land can survive from the sea abrasion, in short. Yeah. And then how do we contact the Netherlands higher education institution? First, by our alumni, of course. We use them to promote the collaboration between two institutions. And then number two, we have research partner, like what I mentioned before, that we run some project with Netherlands higher institution for research. And then this number three, we can invite some professors to teach in our institution or university. And then yeah, the last one, the last but not least, we also invite the student from the Netherlands to experience what do we call this, learning in Indonesia, especially in the Faculty of Medicine. We have been running this for many years. For example, a master student from Radboud University of Nijmegen, they gradually and usually come to the Faculty of Medicine to study and learn about the endemic what do we call this, diseases, which is called tropical diseases. And we also send them to the rural hospital that we manage in Jepara. It's a small hospital like Puskesmas, but it's bigger than Puskesmas. And they are very happy to in touch with the community, then to apply their knowledge to the local. They are very happy, and also they can enjoy Karimun Jawa, of course. Yeah, I think the best island, if we compare to Bali, yeah, Bali is now slightly bit crowded, but Karimun Jawa is very beautiful, and it's and we also have like 200 to 200 acre or something, the land in Karimun Jawa dedicated for our laboratory for mangrove, yeah, for fisheries and marine science. Yes, I think this is very short. Like what I mentioned before, it's already done by Pak Din, and then Pak Wiryono also add some strategy. So it's the summary. I just summarized from both of them. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mbak Astrid.
Thank you, Mas Roman, for the list of your collaborations. Actually, that was very interesting. So what's happening with the if I can summarize, or if I get it right, for Universitas Diponegoro, what you do is that you focus first. You have history, so that is nice. So there's already like a connection beforehand back in the days to collaborate with Red Belt, for example. And then with Sasion, you mentioned that the mangrove. So that means there might have been some common ground between Universitas Diponegoro and Saxion. So that also makes collaboration easy. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to summarize a little bit on what everybody has been saying today before we move on to the Q&A session in a minute or two. First and foremost, when it comes to collaborations with national institutions, it's not all about MOU or go to the legal phase. It has to come from the bottom up approach, because as mentioned earlier, because after that we were mentioned by Pak Din Wahid, usually even some research university would look at the top 10 Indonesian universities. So we have to think outside the box and see what are the other options. And from all the topics and from the discussion we've just had, we can do it via history, via common ground. We have to do research on our Dutch institutions if they have the same research points, or if we have the same common purpose, and then maybe we can tweak around there. And then alumni. This is what the NL alumni is all about. Like Pak Din himself is the alumni an NL alumni, so that makes it easier. So he becomes like an inside person when it comes to collaborations with Dutch. So it makes his institutions easy to go around getting to know the other partner. And from Universitas Islam Indonesia focus on trying other schemes such as the Erasmus Developing Global Capacity, so that enables you to push up your portfolio, for example. And then after that, there's a visiting professor scheme, whereby we have visiting professors coming for global engagement programs. UII is definitely utilizing the what is it called? International, their international programs and AI and IT, and invite them for seminars such as this, like we are inviting you. So try to get your partners as engaged as possible, but we start from the bottom up. Next, we will move on to the Q&A session, and I will be switching a little bit here and there with Bahasa. If anybody would like to speak in Bahasa, it is absolutely open for that. And we will begin with the first question. Ibu Mega from UNU Yogyakarta, she was asking about what about the urgency of MOU. Ibu Mega, if you're still here, it would be nice if you can expand a little bit on what the question is about.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. So, Pak Din before mentioned that we need to suggest the concrete program to have the collaboration. So, what I'm going to ask is, what if what is the urgency of the MOU if we propose the concrete program first? Thank you, Pak Din.
Silakan, Pak Din.
Should I respond immediately?
Iya, boleh Pak Din, boleh.
Yeah, thank you, Ibu Mega. I think there is a different way of thinking between Indonesian universities and Dutch universities, yeah. Because from our perspective, if you want to, let's say, to have program, for instance, especially in international programs, you should have like MOU between your university and our university and Dutch universities. And based on this MOU, you can create like you can develop some programs and we'll put the money there in the program. Yeah. This is the difference between Dutch universities and ours, because if we ask for instance, for the first time from the very beginning that we need an MOU from Dutch university, I can say you will not get it because they are very strict. They are very strict in in signing MOU or similar documents. I have, let's say, I have experience in connecting one university in Kalimantan Selatan with IHE, IHE in Delft. Before before any document, before signing any documents, they collaborated, even though during the COVID era, for instance, they collaborated online with some programs. And then I think in 2020, 2021, the vice rector from this university in Kalimantan Selatan asked IHE that they need like document, even very simple document like letter of intent, and then they come to the agreement to sign this letter of documents, and then after signing the document, they have there is no implementation even after this signing. So from that perspective, they emphasize on the concrete, very tangible program, concrete and tangible program, instead of only signing an MOU and then you don't have any program after this signing MOU, because they know sometimes, even though now for accreditation you need more, not only signing MOU but also implementation of the program to be considered this international program. So if you ask MOU for the first time, I believe I think you wouldn't get it. That is the there is a different way of thinking between us and them, of course. Begitu kira-kira Ibu Mega.
Siap, Pak.
Bisa ikut menjawab,
Oh ya,
Pak Din?
please.
I think it depends on what activity that you proposed. Like for instance, if you do like what we do, double degree, for instance, and like also Undip, Pak Abdul did, you definitely need an MOU, because there is a calculations of credits, matching of curriculum, etc. And it also linked to the what do you call it, applications of permits in Dikti, right? So I agree with Pak Din. It depends on, but it depends on the activities, and yeah, that in our experience, getting to that level is actually takes time, right? The first is like we have to be friends, make friends first, getting close, and sometimes we do I don't know, like lecturing, etc., very informal. And then when we build trust, then we can move to that level. Yeah, and we did that like more than 10 years ago. Yeah, and the double degree is still running. We have 2 or 3 students at the moment in the Netherlands. Right. Thank you.
Can I add some more, Pak Wiryono, Pak Din?
Please, I think you have to ask Ibu Astrid.
Please.
Yes, absolutely, you can.
Astrid.
It's an open
Alright.
discussion.
Thank you, Bu Astrid. Yes, I do agree with Pak Wiryono and also Pak Din. Bu Mega, you can compare 2 things that I mentioned that I already talked before. That first, we have a collaboration with Saxion University for double degree, yeah, with Faculty of Science and Mathematics. And of course, it needs a document, agreement, yeah, could be MOU or letter of intent or higher than that. But on the other hand, we have collaboration with Leiden University that Pak Din Wahid mentioned before. We cannot just apply or propose them for sign the MOU because they have very strict regulation. Perhaps they have to review the activities that we have already done. So you can choose either having MOU first or having activities first, based on the needs, based on the activities that you want to propose to them. So in this case, I do agree with Pak Din. We cannot just propose collaboration with MOU, but also I do agree with Pak Wiryono that we should, when the activities need the documents, the collaborations documents such as MOU or letter of intent or any other agreements. So you can choose either having MOU first, activities after that, or activities first, and then we can push up into a bigger or higher connection, which is MOU. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's clear now. Thank you, Pak Abdul, Pak Wiryono, and Pak Din.
Thank you, everybody. Next, I'll move on to the next question in the chat. I know there's a hand, but let's take a look at the questions first. This is from Bu Angelika Riandari. Bu, if you're here. Oh, Ibu is here.
Okay.
Yeah, I will put you on the screen also, so might as well.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Can I just proceed with the okay.
Yes.
Terima kasih sekali Bapak-bapak dan Ibu Eva tadi yang sudah sharing. Ada beberapa pertanyaan dari saya. Saya setuju kalau berdasarkan pengalaman untuk bekerja sama dengan universitas di Belanda itu individual sekali. Permasalahannya adalah ketika individu yang tadinya terlibat itu sudah pensiun, sudah retired atau sudah tidak mau meneruskan kolaborasi, itu menjadi masalah karena dosen lain yang tertarik, dosen especially the juniors gitu, sudah tidak bisa lagi memakai network itu karena itu universitas mengatakan lebih baik institusional, dan itu menjadi sulit karena pendekatannya menjadi berbeda. Nah, karena itu ya ini kan karena kebetulan saya di International Office tugasnya adalah menjadi mak comblang nih. Kesulitannya adalah ketika we want to start a new collaboration with Dutch universities, pertanyaannya tadi apakah kita harus mencari yang the same level university, yang pasti akan sulit untuk kami karena when we talk about rank gitu ya, kan ya mau tidak mau harus mengakui bahwa our rank is not as high as those owned by the Dutch universities gitu. Lalu atau apakah ini butuh pencerahan? Apakah kita bisa approach any universities? Tapi itu opportunity-nya seberapa banyak gitu ya? Chancesnya untuk ditanggapi, karena saya pernah approach ada 2 universitas Belanda yang kebetulan institusi kami tertarik. Itu ketika approach itu email tidak dibalas, kami berusaha untuk kontak person juga. The question is where should we start? Gitu kadang-kadang jadi bingung sendiri begitu. Saya butuh sharing experience dari bapak-bapak dan ibu yang ada di sini. Terima kasih.
Monggo Pak Din.
Itu Ibu Evi raise hand.
Mau jawab itu.
Ya, itu ada Ibu Evi.
Ibu Evi mau jawab itu.
Bosnya ini bosnya.
Oh ya.
Hot share.
Ibu Evi, saya kok
Ibu
belum
Evi
mendengar
suaranya nggak
Kedengeran, Bu.
Bu.
Ibu di unmute kali ya, Bu? Iya.
Ya, Bu.
Ya, apakah sudah terdengar sekarang?
Yes.
Aman,
Yes, Bu.
aman Bu Evi.
Oke. Oke, terima kasih Bu Angelika atas pertanyaannya. Nanti teman-teman saya yang lebih well seasoned akan menambahkan. Saya tergelitik juga karena dulu saya juga mengalami ini ya kesulitan yang sama dengan Ibu gitu. Kemudian saya pelajari yang kami lakukan di sini adalah kami pelajari interestnya Dutch Universities ini sebenarnya apa. Nah, area strategisnya pemerintah Belanda terkait dengan education and research ini apa gitu. Nah, di mana kita bisa fit in. Nah, kemudian kita cari universitas yang kiranya kita punya network atau jejaring atau tidak harus direct network, bisa indirect network. Misalnya seperti apa? Saya punya teman namanya Pak Din Wahid waktu itu menjadi atase pendidikan gitu di sana. Nah, ini indirect network bisa kita manfaatkan. Atau kalau kita punya dosen yang lulusan dari Belanda, itu juga kami manfaatkan. Jadi kami sisir Ibu seluruh universitas di Universitas Negeri Malang ini berapa alumni yang dari Belanda, dari universitas mana saja, apakah supervisornya ini masih aktif atau sudah pensiun gitu. Selain kami juga memanfaatkan atase pendidikan. Kemudian network dari kantor urusan internasional. Kita kan sama-sama tergabung di KUI ya, network KUI seluruh Indonesia. Bisa Bapak Ibu raise di sana. Saya punya penelitian topik ini, kira-kira ada teman-teman yang punya network tidak di di Universitas Belanda. Yang teman-teman yang saya rasa penting dilakukan itu adalah when we approach them, kita itu punya punya pintunya, kita tahu pintu yang akan diketuk. Kadang-kadang memang itu kami mencoba mengetuk pintu salah satu universitas di Belanda, padahal kami sudah punya ajang profesor dari mereka, itu pun belum sampai MOU Bu, nggak mau. jadi udah sampai kami mengangkat ajang profesor. Gitu. Kemudian memang harus bersabar dengan prosesnya ya Bu. Kemudian itu tadi gunakan network sebagai perpanjangan tangan, kita harus paham kira-kira interestnya apa. Yang saya lihat akhir-akhir ini teman-teman di Belanda itu senang sekali dengan ide atau konsep living lab. Gitu. Ayo kita tawarkan ini. Saya yakin karena KKN atau kuliah kerja nyata itu wajib ya Bapak Ibu di Indonesia. Nah, kita punya area KKN apa yang strategis yang ini beririsan dengan area strategisnya dari pemerintah Nederland terhadap Indonesia. Misalnya green economy, blue economy, digitalization, health in a broader sense. Kita bisa kait-kaitkan itu. Gitu. Nah, dari situ kalau we can appeal to them, mungkin mereka akan tertarik begitu. Jadi jangan patah hati kalau misalnya satu pintu masih belum dibuka, mungkin lewat pintu yang lainnya. Begitu Ibu kalau dari saya. Ini yaitu tadi kita harus cari celahnya. Terima kasih. Silahkan kalau mau ditambahkan Bapak-bapak panelis.
Terima kasih Bu Evi.
Kayaknya sudah komplit.
Kalau ada
Tapi
ceritanya silakan Pak.
saya mungkin ini tadi ada Bu Lutfia ini nanya belum sudah dari tadi resign ya. Tapi kalau kami ada salah satu cara yang ini agak radikal ya. Dulu kami lakukan. Jadi kami ini kan mindset internasionalisasinya nggak sama ya antara satu fakultas dengan fakultas lain, bahkan satu fakultas prodinya beda gitu ya, mindsetnya, kapasitasnya, sehingga di suatu masa kami pernah punya program namanya Leaders Visit, ngajak dekan-dekan, jadi dianggarkan memang masing-masing fakultas itu mengirimkan dekannya, nah sama rektor. Nah, kami melakukan itu dengan cara mengorganisasikan kunjungan langsung. Nah, kunjungan langsung ini memang jadi sangat efektif karena ketemu langsung gitu, ngobrol langsung, face to face gitu. Nah, ini pernah kami lakukan. Jadi salah satu yang mengakselerasi double degree dengan Saxion segala macam, kemudian koneksi dengan The Hague University, itu adalah program itu tahun 2011 kalau nggak salah waktu itu. Itu tambahan dari saya. Makasih.
Terima kasih.
Izin Bapak dan Ibu, Bu Astrid,
Ya.
boleh menambahkan?
Silahkan.
Iya, terima kasih. Bu Angelica, halo Bu,
Ya Pak, halo.
tetangga dekat saya ini,
Iya.
tetangga dekatnya Undip ini Bu. Iya, jadi Bu Angelica, mungkin apa ya? Ini mungkin karena kita berada di kota yang sama, jadi merasakan hal yang sama dan mungkin punya strategi yang mirip juga, Bu. Kota Lama, Bu. Restorasinya kan di bawah Unika, Bu.
Iya, betul, betul Pak.
Kota Lama, terus
Mm-mm.
apa namanya, ikon Kota Semarang yaitu Lawang Sewu, Bu. Itu untuk restorasinya pilot apa namanya, pilot projectnya kan dikerjakan oleh Unika.
Iya.
Nah, mungkin itu dari prodi arsitek bisa Bu menawarkan itu
Hmm.
sebagai hal yang apa ya, hal yang sangat unik dan pemerintah Belanda pasti juga punya apa namanya kepentingan di situ Bu. Itu mungkin bisa di apa ya, tawarkan sebagai daya tarik, misalnya itu untuk research gitu ya. Mungkin juga pendanaan juga bisa itu Bu mengalir ke situ karena Kota Lama, which is very identically with the Dutch government gitu kan. Terus mungkin malah kami minta diajak Bu kalau misalnya proyeknya bisa tembus gitu ya, bisa
Iya.
diajak ke itu. Nah, nanti Ibu bisa ikut kami juga di misalnya di Timbul Sloko itu, Desa Timbul Sloko. Jadi itu keadaan alamnya mungkin ya, mungkin mirip dengan Belanda puluhan tahun yang lalu di mana air lautnya lebih tinggi dibandingkan daratannya gitu, dan mereka sukses ya membangun dam dan lain sebagainya, dan itu mau diimplementasikan ke kita gitu di Semarang gitu. Nah, itu juga bisa menjadi proyek yang bisa ditawarkan begitu Bu. Lebih dari itu ya pasti harus menjalin komunikasi lebih intens, dan strateginya untuk kampus-kampus atau universitas yang jauh di atas kita pasti ya kolaborasinya sebatas mengundang mereka, profesor mereka untuk mengajar, tawarkan program-program seperti jamu Bu. Di Unika ini ada prodi
Ya, jamu
Bapak dan Ibu,
khusus.
yaitu
Iya.
prodi jamu, dan jelas ini fundingnya tidak terbatas karena mungkin dengan sudah muncul ya Bu ya, itu juga bisa Bu ditawarkan karena itu sangat endemik sekali ya, khas Semarang, khas Jawa Tengah itu. Justru Ibu malah punya nilai tambah, nilai lebih dibandingkan kami Undip gitu. Terima kasih Bu. Sampai jumpa di
Iya.
Unika Bu.
Iya. Terima kasih Pak Abdul, malah dapat banyak masukan. Terima kasih.
Iya, Bu.
Terima kasih Bu Angelica. Selanjutnya saya mau invite Bu Lutfiah untuk share juga pertanyaannya.
Baik, terima kasih Ibu. Selamat sore Bapak Ibu sekalian. Ini pertemuan yang sangat menarik dan sangat bermanfaat sekali. Pertama saya ingin bertanya ke Pak Abdul. Tadi saya tertarik dengan pembahasan yang sudah disampaikan oleh Pak Abdul, dan kebetulan ada salah satu program juga yang UGJ, Universitas Swadaya Gunung Jati Cirebon ini sudah lakukan juga Pak, yaitu kolaborasi dengan Redbound University tentang Clinical Rotation Program. Jadi ada mahasiswa dari medical students datang ke Cirebon untuk melakukan research tentang endemic atau tropical disease, dan mereka juga akan mereka melakukan semacam magang ya Pak ya di rural hospital di Cirebon. Pertanyaan saya, bolehkah kami mengetahui kerjasama seperti apa antara Undip dengan Redbound University itu Pak? Karena sejauh ini di UGJ kolaborasinya itu atau kerjasamanya itu masih bersifat personal, dan kita ingin sebetulnya meningkatkan ke tingkat yang lebih atas lagi ya Pak. Harapannya bisa institusional gitu kolaborasinya. Itu yang pertama. Yang kedua, Bapak Ibu, saya ingin mendapatkan pencerahan dari Bapak Ibu sekalian, terutama ini berkaitan dengan KUI ya secara umum. Biasanya ketika KUI, saya di sini mencoba untuk melakukan inisiasi kolaborasi dengan mengirimkan email atau menawarkan kerjasama ke institusi atau ke universitas-universitas yang kami tuju, tidak hanya dengan Netherlands ya tentunya. Mereka cenderung lebih menginginkan yang mengusulkan itu fakultas, sehingga programnya mungkin lebih spesifik gitu dibandingkan ketika dari KUI yang ketuk pintu untuk mengadakan kerjasama. Nah, adakah tips mungkin atau strategi dari Bapak Ibu sekalian seperti apa gitu strategi jitu-nya supaya ketika kita mengetuk pintu dengan universitas yang akan kita ajak kerjasama bisa mendapatkan sambutan yang baik gitu. Seperti itu Bapak Ibu. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kalau izin bisa menjawab Bu Astrid?
Silakan Pak.
Ya, terima kasih Bu Lutfia. Selamat sore dari UGJ Cirebon ya Bu. Kalau tidak salah kita punya MOU ya Bu ya, antara Undip dengan UGJ ya.
Dengan MOU-nya saya belum ngecek lagi Pak.
Kita punya kerjasama Bu, Undip dengan Swadaya Gunung Jati itu. Cuman saya agak sedikit lupa ininya apa field area kolaborasinya di mana gitu. Tapi kalau
Baik.
tidak salah juga kayak tripartit gitu dengan Radboud kalau tidak salah. Tapi nanti coba dicek lagi. Oke, untuk kegiatannya di kami itu setiap tahun kami mendapatkan visiting professor Bu dari Radboud University Nijmegen untuk namanya clinical course Bu di Fakultas Kedokteran. Terus banyak yang dari kita ke sana itu kebanyakan adalah mengirimkan PhD student untuk sekolah di sana memang. Dan itu di apa namanya diakomodir dengan MOU. Kita memang ada MOU dengan RUN ya, dengan Radboud. Terus selain itu activity lainnya adalah memang mahasiswa RUN ini setiap tahun, bahkan setiap semester mohon maaf, 2, 3, 4 itu selalu ke Undip Bu untuk sebenarnya tidak Undip tok ya, tapi kayaknya 3 tempat begitu, ada Rumah Sakit Provinsi Dr. Karyadi, terus ke Undip dan juga ke Melonggo Jepara itu untuk rural hospitalnya gitu. Jadi dan activity itu terus gitu kita maintain gitu, di maintain oleh Fakultas Kedokteran seperti itu. Dan MOU-nya sudah cukup lama ya. Ini salah satu MOU yang paling lama di kami itu karena inisiasinya itu tahun 90-an gitu. Itu Bu kira-kira jawaban dari kami Bu. Terima
Boleh saya
kasih.
nambahkan Bu?
Silakan Pak.
Monggo Pak, silakan.
Ada satu yang saya kira I think we forget many people there, Indonesian diaspora in Netherlands. I know there are some Indonesian diaspora teaching and doing research in Dutch universities. In Nijmegen, I know Pak Ari Samsura from Indonesia. I don't know exactly. I forget what in what faculty. In many universities, like in Leiden, in Amsterdam, in Delft, even in TU Delft, there is one of our lecturers there teaching in Delft University, TU Technic University Delft. So why don't we ask? Why don't we have? Connect with our diaspora there? I think they will assist us and they will help us happily if we can connect them. Itu saya kira Bu ya, banyak sekali itu. Dan biasanya mereka kalau lagi liburan kayak gini, summer itu mereka pulang ke Indonesia. Saya tahu Pak Suryadi dari Leiden misalnya, itu sekarang sedang ada di Indonesia gitu. Itu biasa. Dalam waktu-waktu seperti itu bisa kita undang ke universitas kita, terus kemudian ngasih guest lecture atau apa, diskusi apa. Nah, nanti kemudian kita bisa bisa meminta bantuan yang bersangkutan, bisa nggak dihubungkan dengan ini apa dengan fakultasnya. Yang terpenting adalah kita tahu kekuatan kita di bidang apa, sehingga orang akan ini apa akan melihat, oh ya kita kuat dalam bidang ini gitu. Itu saya kira. Terima
Baik,
kasih.
terima kasih Pak Din dan juga Pak Abdul.
Ya, terima kasih. Kalau gitu, ya Pak Abdul mau balik, gak apa-apa Pak. Tapi kita ada question terakhir, mungkin ini question terakhir kita untuk saat ini. Ini dari Pak Yasrul Huda, UIN Imam Bonjol. Saya bacakan ya Pak, kalau Bapak di sini juga boleh ikutan. We need collaboration with university from the Netherlands. How to find out which universities we need collaboration with?
Jawab, Bro. Din Wahid.
I think this is very difficult questions. I think the best way to make them interest to attract these people. I mean, these universities, we have to show what is our strength, what is our distinction. Our distinction, for instance, in Padang, I don't know exactly in your university, but if you, for instance, apa ya, if you show your distinction, and this distinctions is not, I mean, for instance, in Leiden, in your university, for instance, in Leiden. It's about, for instance, about manuscript. I don't know exactly what kind of manuscript in your university, which is not available in Leiden, for instance. So you can propose. This is very important manuscripts. Of course, it deals with deals with maybe about anthropology or whatever. I don't know exactly. Tapi I know for sure that Bro Yasrul can do that because you graduated from Leiden and you have broad connection in the Netherlands. The question is if, for instance, your colleagues Pak Suryadi, I know he is in Indonesia now and he knows you very well. We can ask them, and many anthropologists like Bath, for instance, Bath Barendrecht, and in your fields in France, in law, Islamic law, people from VVI, I think, Van Vollenhoven Institute can, I think you can attract them. You can make them interesting to your university, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Baik.
One thing, if maybe this helps, right? Every year, Erasmus open up a grant competitions in any field, right? This is our experience. We collaborate with many European university using one of our strengths is in disaster mitigation. I think all of us has a capacity on that, right? And that can also be seen as an entry point for the conversations. One of our proposal at that time was called Erasmus Building University and Leading Disaster Resilience. And one of the universities that I invited at that time was Universitas Andalas, right? So because Padang for sure is very fragile, we know a lot of natural disaster happening in the past 5 years, right? So that can also be an entry point of the conversations, and the grant is there. So it's a matter of how you how do you call it? Make an interesting or urgent a kind of a keywords that links to the situation in Indonesia, for instance, because we got that and we ran the project for 4 years, and that is quite significant. We have there's a significant impact in our university karena kita menjadi punya hub untuk to mitigate the disaster. Right.
Thank you.
I guess that's my additional comments. Thank you.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Wiryono dan juga Pak Din. Rekan-rekan sekalian, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, kebetulan sudah tidak ada pertanyaan lagi. Dan waktu juga sudah mau habis. We have reached the end of the session. This event will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, and we in the comment below, in the chat section, I have prepared the survey. Please kindly fill out the survey. This will help me and the NL Knowledge House to create another collaborations dialogue. Now we'll be focused on the Dutch perspective. This will be held by the end of August. New registrations will be open, but please kindly fill out the survey. Your input is definitely important for us. Once again, thank you Ibu dan Bapak sekalian staying throughout. Thank you for Pak Din, Pak Wiryono, Yvonne also, Bu Evi has left, Mas Rohman for attending this event. Your informations have been wonderful, and we hope all of the participants here have benefit and will now better and will be better to arrange their tactic, because the matchmaking is coming, winner is coming. I'm sure some of you are going to the Netherlands for this. We're excited to see you. Before we close the session, would it be okay if I take a very quick screenshot? And then we can say goodbye. Thank you, everybody. Ibu-ibu dan bapak sekalian yang kameranya masih ketutup, mungkin boleh dibuka dulu biar saya ngambil foto sebentar aja. Just a quick screenshot, and then we are good to go. All right. First page, so 2 times. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, great. Okay, I'll save this first. Another page. Bapak Ibu sekalian, boleh dibuka yang belum ya. Saya di page kedua. 1, 2. Alright, that is it. Thank you very much, Ibu Bapak sekalian. Semoga
Thank you.
beneficial. Ketemu lagi.
Salam kenal Prof. Wiryono.
Sudah temenan.
Nggak pernah ketemu.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Yvonne.
Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye.
Thank you.